Welcome to the APL Spotlight Series. Incredible guests the world over with amazing insights, experiences, and much more to share with all of us. That's usually high vibe, unconditional love. They've been somewhere, they've seen stuff, or they're helping others, giving service to others. And that's who we have today coming back to us. We've met before, and so I'm super excited to see Heidi Jane again. She's a psychic medium, spiritual teacher, hypnotherapist, and wears other hats as well. Heidi, great to have you on. Great to see you again.
Yes. Oh, what a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on. I'm
Well,
super excited to get into it and
it's
just see how the conversation unfolds.
same, and it's a delight to see you again. Tell us a little bit about how you got started. Were you psychic from the get-go as a little kid and throughout the teenage years? Just tell us a little bit about that.
Sure thing. So yes, I am Australian, but I actually grew up in Canada. And I from a very young age, I had very clear what I thought were dreams or what I thought were like everybody else could see it. So I could see, men stepping out of pictures and grandparents walking around the house, even though they weren't alive anymore. And so I just spoke openly about it. And my parents were not in any way aligned with that reality. So I intuitively kind of started to think, okay, maybe there's something wrong with me. I might just keep this to myself. I remember when I was in elementary school in Canada, I spent a lot of time like in the library looking through books about ghosts and books about like I remember reading an article about spontaneous combustion and like all of these crazy things that like why would a 9 or 10 year old be reading about that or be interested in that? But that was my world and that's how I experienced it. And because I didn't have really anyone around me to explain it to me or to guide me or to kind of foster that ability, then I started searching for answers myself at a very young age. And, we had some crazy experiences as a child. Like I said, I would see things in houses. I would see things also attached to people, which was quite confronting. And I don't mean just like their passed over grandparent or whatever. Although, I did see that, but it was more like energies or dark figures, that kind of thing. So it was quite frightening because I didn't understand what was happening. So, like most teenagers do, they want to fit in because also, I felt weird. I felt strange. I felt like something I don't know, was different or wrong. And I think, kids are very intuitive as well. And the children that I went to school with also kind of picked that up, like she's a bit weird or there's something a bit off with her. So I actually really struggled to have friendships when I was quite younger because I couldn't relate to other children on the level of being a child. I feel like I was an old woman, even though I was young. I know that sounds terrible, but like I just saw everything from a different perspective. And, you get the classic, oh, she's so emotionally mature. It's like, yes, because I've had to figure out how to manage this entire world by myself without any kind of guidance or support. So then, as I was saying, when you get to teenage years, you just want to fit in. You just want to, you want to be a part of the crowd and you want to have friends. And so by that stage, like mid to late teens, we'd moved back to Australia and I just switched it all off. Like I actively worked at shutting everything down. Like I didn't want to know about it. It wasn't real. I just wanted to hang out with my friends and, you know, chat to boys and, normal teenage kind of stuff. Um, but unfortunately or fortunately, it doesn't go away, right? So it's still there. I was just like pretending, or like I call it masking. I was just masking myself, my true identity, my true nature. And I'm also like I identify very much as an empath. And, that kind of added that extra layer onto it as well, because not only could I see stuff and hear stuff, but I would also feel everything in the room, or I would, step into a space, even if nobody was there, and I could feel the energies that had been there or what had taken place. And so, I tried to numb that a lot in my late teens as well. And I guess in late teens, early 20s, I had a bit of an awakening. I had my daughter very young, and she kind of, I say, she came out and kind of slapped me across the face and said, "It's time to wake up now." And so everything kind of came flooding back, and I no longer denied, I guess, who I was, and started really actively pursuing and working towards understanding what was actually going on for me. And then that also led into, well, if it's happening to me, it can't just be me. I can't just be the only person on the planet that this is happening to. So how can I help others as well? So, and I'm sure you understand like attracts like. So I would often get people attracted to me, in that kind of stage of life, who were also struggling with their own energy, their own spirituality, their own abilities, intuitive abilities. And so that kind of started me on a road of, doing lots and lots of different trainings and modalities and just researching. I mean, I think most empaths can relate to this. There's this sense of, like, I feel like I'm a lifetime learner. I just want to know everything about everything. And it doesn't matter actually what the subject is. If I find it interesting, I do deep dives into it. And so, yeah, I mean, I've just been learning and I'm still learning now, obviously. But I feel like if we're still breathing, we've got some work to do. But I also feel like I'm now in a position where I can, certainly help a lot of people more in a more targeted fashion, because I've kind of gone through the whirlpool and been spat out the other side. So I can use all of that experience to help other people, which makes me, really happy because I do feel that I'm here to support others for sure.
For sure. Can you share with us an experience where your skills, whether you were officially doing it more modern day as a healer, when your skills kicked into gear, or it was when you were a kid, high school, uni, something like that? Could you share with
Yeah,
us one of
sure.
those moments?
So, actually, what comes to mind is I don't know if you're aware of this, but I was actually on a reality TV show here in Australia. So it was like network television, kind of mainstream TV. And it was called The One, Search for Australia's Most Gifted Psychic. And so they put out, calls for auditions. And they actually found me, the producers actually found me somehow, and reached out and said, "Would you please apply?" And now I was, kind of in two minds with this because editing and, they could potentially make it look really bad or farcical or, kind of deplete the value of the skills that people have. So I was a little bit wary and it took a bit of a time to convince me to get on the show. But so then we went through the whole auditioning process, which took actually about 4 months. And there were, I think, I remember there was about 6,000 people who applied. So it got down to the top 20 and then it got to the top 10 and then we were on the show. And so fundamentally what it was 8 weeks of on-air challenges and they had judges. So they had like a skeptic and then they had a practicing witch who was also the judge. And so they would mark us, they would give us challenges, or the producers would. they would film us, and then the judges would, yes, she got that right, or no, that was off, or that was, you get the idea. So every week over those 8 weeks, we had an on location challenge and we had an in studio challenge. And the on location challenge that really stands out to me is one in Sydney, where I live. We were all taken, all of the contestants were taken to an apartment, and we were told that a woman on yes, we were told that a woman had been killed in the apartment, not who she was, not nothing else. And it was our job to determine who killed her, why did they kill her, and how did they kill her. So obviously, as an empath, I was like, "Oh, here we go. This is not, this may not be fun for me." And in fact, it wasn't fun, but I did very well in that, because what I did was, when I stepped into that apartment, I actually merged with her energy field. I know that might sound a bit strange, but it was almost as if she came into me and showed me exactly what had taken place. And so, unfortunately, and it ended up being a past partner who broke into her apartment, and it was very specific, the detail that I received from her. Like, she showed me that it was on her throat, but it was a specific thing that, he did, which I was shown and told the judges. And so, meanwhile, in the background, also, there's this detective who worked on the actual case. And so he was also ticking us off. Yeah, so I won that challenge, but so I got through all of the grueling challenges. Some of them were pretty intense, and pretty crazy. Um, and yeah, I got runner up. So that was an interesting experience for sure. And there were so many different, like, challenges. Like, they put us on like a public train, and we had to find a jewel thief who had stolen diamonds, and all of this kind of, very TV kind of stuff. Um, but we're trying to tell the producers, just because it looks good on television doesn't necessarily translate how psychics or intuitives work. But they didn't seem to listen to us. So anyway, that was a pretty cool experience. And I found myself on also mainstream radio for 6 years, doing live on air readings. So every week on the breakfast show, people would call in. I would get half an hour on air, and they would call in with their questions, and I'd answer live on air. So that was a really fun experience as well. I really enjoyed that. But I mean, I guess that those are quite exceptional experiences. That's probably not what everybody has. Um, but how I see it is that, spirit, or my higher self, really pushed me forward into the public eye to try and normalize this this world, these abilities, this way of perceiving and experiencing the world. And, I think one of the biggest wins for me actually is that I saw one of those judges who was the president of the Skeptic Association or Society or something in Australia. And after the show finished, we were doing some press and stuff at different festivals and shows. And he had a camera crew with him, and he was walking around at one of these mind, body, spirit festivals, with other skeptics, filming people and what they were doing, trying to, I guess, discredit them and really shine a negative light on I guess the more woo-woo things that people are aligned with. And I distinctly remember he saw me and we made eye contact, and he just kept walking because he couldn't explain like what he saw. He didn't have words for it. So, and if you're actually a true skeptic, you're actually open-minded. You're not closed-minded. You're just looking for something that perhaps could prove to you a different perspective. So, when people say they're skeptical, I'm like, well, are you really skeptical? Which means that you're open to having your perspective changed, or are you closed-minded and you've just decided that all of this is not real and it's all made up and all of that kind of thing. So I actually found that that was one of my biggest wins when the president of the Skeptic Society wouldn't engage with me in public because he knew that he had nothing to say because he couldn't explain what he witnessed when I was on the show. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, that was good.
Th- Those were brilliant answers. I do have a TV or movie related question, which is
Yeah.
when you're seeing or experiencing, is there a classic movie or TV show or a few that when you saw it, you were like, oh my God, that was me, this type of when it happens? Could it be Odd Thomas? Could it be Poltergeist? Could it be Ghost Whisperer or Ghosts? Just in the way it was really gentle, or you're like, whoa, negativity. Is there anything you can relate to us so that if somebody's seen it, they're like, oh, now I know what it's like to be in her shoes for a second?
Yes. Well, the one that instantly pops into my head is The Sixth Sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and spoiler alert, but like that movie has been out for a long time. So I don't think that I'm going to be spoiling it for too many people. And I won't give out the ending, but just the perspective of the child, how he was terrified
Mm.
through that movie through that story for until he understood what was actually happening and that they were asking him for help rather than, and that, when I saw that movie, I was like, that's literally my childhood. Like that's kind of how it felt because even though he had a well-meaning mother, she didn't know what to do. She didn't have the frame of reference to be able to support him. And so, he instinctively was responding to his environment or to what he saw. And then when it finally clicked for him and he understood what was actually going on, it wasn't scary anymore. It was just like, oh, these spirits, these souls are actually trying to ask me for help. They're not trying to harm me or hurt me or anything. And I think that's really one that stood and continues to really stand out to me in that. Ghost Whisperer as well. I mean, yes, I think it's been a long time since I watched that show, but I do remember feeling like, yeah, it's fairly accurate the way that she is kind of portraying how the people who had passed over, who are interacting with her and maybe a bit of medium, although I couldn't relate to the fact that she only received information when she was asleep. But I kind of wished for that at some points. It was like it would be like easier. So rather than being bombarded all the time. But interestingly, even though I've got that skill that I don't really tend to do much mediumship work anymore, for a number of different reasons. But I feel like, that is definitely a calling. And I remember actually, I'll share this with you. When my mediumship, like my really clear mediumship skills opened up, both of my children were born at that stage, and I was probably in my late 20s. And and we just had a house full of spirits because both of my kids are very open as well. And so I just felt like, my children didn't want to be left alone. They were always on top of me or clinging to me. I knew that there was something in the house. Like it got to the point where we actually called in an exorcist not that I'm religious or anything, but one of my friends, she said, "Oh, my mum does exorcisms for the Catholic Church. Do you want her to come and have a look?" I was like, "Hell yeah, come on in. Whatever you can do, I don't mind." And she's like, "No, I can't do anything. This is for you to sort out." So it was kind of like a trial by fire, I guess. I was thrown into that fire. But having small children, and my son, I think, was only about 18 months old then. I kind of made a decision, even though I was very skilled at that particular form of communication. I knew that I didn't want that interfering in my day-to-day life. So I didn't want my children feeling uncomfortable or scared. And so, kind of a couple of years into it, I made a decision that I wasn't going to pursue being only a medium because I just didn't want to have a house full of spirits all the time. I don't know how else to put it, but that didn't stop my children. They particularly my daughter. She's well, both of them. They work differently, but we lived at one point next to a nursing home, and she would just be like, every time somebody kicked off next door, they'd kind of visit us before. And so she'd be at the end of my bed going, "Mom, there's a dead guy in my room again. Can you sort it out?" So I just, I just felt for that at that point in our lives, and particularly when the children were so little, that I just didn't want to have like a highway running through my home. Because what I experienced at that point was that once kind of the other side can see that you can see, it's like, she can, let's go over here. And so I was just like, what? You have to, like, no, you can't just come into my house. And so, everything is a teaching experience, right? So then I started to learn about boundaries and having rules and all of that kind of stuff as well. So even though I guess I really started my professional career because I also had an article. I had a journalist whom I'd given a reading to. I was working in a spiritual center in Sydney, and I'd given a reading to his wife a couple of years earlier, and I couldn't really remember her. Um, and he contacted the center and said, "Oh, would Heidi be willing to do a free reading if I write an article about it?" And I was like, "Yep, okay, let's do that." And so he came in, and it just happened to become a mediumship reading about his brother that he had lost. So his brother popped through, and I shared some information, like very specific information, and then he wrote an article about that. And so in Australia, we have like, like broadsheet newspapers. It was kind of like a very popular newspaper, the Daily Telegraph, which had like a body and soul kind of lift out, where every, I don't know, a couple of weeks, maybe they would do things about natural therapies and healing and massage and, whatever. And so I had that article he, in there, and it was called Happy Medium. And it was insane. The response was off the charts. Like, I then became booked out for like, I think it was 3 years in advance. We were getting like 10,000 hits on the website a day. Like, they had to hire people to take phone calls. It just was insane. But it's interesting. So I feel like spirit kind of pushed me forward, like I said, into the spotlight not unwillingly, but kind of like I was not suspecting it, that's for sure. I was like, what the? And then the radio came from that and the television. And then, I've been in documentaries. I'm doing a documentary at the end of this year again. And so there's lots of things that have spun off from that, plenty of summits and different things. But I actually also then within the last 5 years got to a point where I was like, you know what, I wanted to figure out what living, and I know this is going to sound strange, but living like a normal life might feel like. And so I actually got a role in corporate Australia. And because I was like, I want to work in corporate. I want to see what this is all about. I want to understand, this whole different world. And so I did very well in corporate Australia, but it was exhausting for me because I was constantly masking. So going back to, what I was doing as a child to try and fit in, to not be weird, and I didn't tell anybody that I worked with what I used to do or what I'd done. And so I was very, under the radar there because again, I didn't want that judgment or that sense of I was going to say ignorance, but lack of education maybe about people like us. And unfortunately, in my experience, when people have lack of education or understanding, that's when judgment comes through, right? That's when bigotry comes through and all of that kind of stuff. So, I was able to mask myself for about 3 years, and then that was that.
I have a
I
I have a
couldn't do it
great
anymore.
I have a great Wayne Dyer quote for you. The highest form of ignorance is when you reject something you don't know anything about.
Exactly. Perfect. Yes, perfect. And so here I am, back in, back in the life, back in the world of spirit and energy and helping people. And I love to work from a very grounded approach as well. So that's why I have, studied psychology and I'm a psychotherapist and a hypnotherapist and all of those other things. And I have a degree in complementary medicine. And because I feel like we need to ground all of that, those higher aspects of ourselves down into the physical. And if you're not balanced mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, it's very difficult to then, um, I guess, progress, develop, manage yourself, energetically. It's um, it's really difficult. And we see that time and time again with particularly empaths and nervous system, dysregulation and how tough it is for a lot of very sensitive people in the world at the moment.
I have two follow-up questions. It's
Yeah.
kind of the small stuff. So I'm going to lay them both out, but you can tackle them in any which way. One is hotels. Talk to us about your experiences going to other countries, hotels, maybe a bed and breakfast, what it's like for you. We have somebody in this household who sees fully since they're a child. I mean, the dead people that haven't, I'm not sure I can get the terminology right, reconciled the whole way are
Okay.
crawling versus the others who are standing and are much more normal. But hotels, holy cow, for that person. But the second question is the other minutiae. When you were either a kid, teenager, young adult, it could be being at a casino. It could be playing backgammon. You knew you were going to throw three sets of doubles in a row. Something quirky and fun. You just knew when the pasta was ready or the beeper was going to go off, or you woke up always 2 minutes before your alarm clock. There was a lot of that stuff. So, whichever
Yep.
one you want to tackle first, let's get you going on those two topics.
Okay, so let's do well,
Your
well, let's
call.
do hotels. Let's do hotels. I don't love them. And so, well, it depends. Like so if it's set in like a natural setting and there's villas that are separate and that kind of thing, it's better. It's definitely better. But if I'm staying in a hotel like um a couple of years ago, a few, maybe about 10 years ago now. Gosh, it's gone fast. We were in New York for some book signings and stuff. And so that was, I was like, this is either going to go really well or really badly for me. Like, there's not going to be any middle ground here. Like, as an empath, it's going to absolutely kick my butt, or I'm going to be in seventh heaven. And fortunately for me, I love New York because the intensity and it felt like the energy of possibility is in New York. That's how I can put it. And so as again, as an empath, I felt anything was possible when I was in New York for those trips. However, staying in the hotels was like I felt like I was yeah, I felt like I was at war, actually. I felt like it was a constant battle to stay grounded, to be present, the dreams. Because from my perspective, when I'm around other people, and particularly when you're sleeping, because obviously your defenses are down when you're asleep, and you've got a hotel filled with people, and I'll get to the people that have passed away in a minute, but just like the people that are still alive and they're just, staying in the hotel, you're absorbing all of their stuff as well. So it's not like, so when they're sleeping and they're processing their days or, the fight that they just had with their wife or husband or whatever, um, as an empath, you're absorbing that. And so I felt like I was absorbing my stuff and everybody else's stuff in New York at the same time. So that was, I mean, I felt like I had to take a holiday from those trips for sure. But in terms of other spirits, I guess you would say, being in the hotel. Definitely. They always let me know, like lights on, lights off, doors being open and closed, like within the hotel room, like so a bathroom door, a cupboard door, that kind of thing. My husband, who is very not in this world, um, has just gotten used to it. He's just kind of gone, oh, you know what I mean? Like he's just kind of given up. Trying to figure out how this all works, and like stereos turning on and off, lights turning on and off. So if I have a choice of staying maybe in an Airbnb, although they can be problematic as well, it's pretty much whenever anybody has already lived there or there's high energy around the place, we're just gonna, as an empath, I'm just gonna pick up on it regardless of whether I want to or not. I think one of the important things to share here, though, if there's any other empaths listening to this or watching it, is that you, I'm sure you've been told like to protect yourself, like bubble yourself in white light or whatever. And that doesn't necessarily work long, mid to long term. So the way that our energy system is set up is like a sponge. So, think of it just like a sponge. You have to wring it out every time it gets full. Otherwise, it's not able to do its job again. So what I say to empaths is if you're in a large city and you're absorbing or, in a workplace environment, wherever you're at, um, allow it to come in. Don't try and analyze it because once you start to figure out, oh, does this belong to me? Why am I feeling angry? I was fine 5 seconds ago, but now what's happening? Just try not to do that to the best of your ability and maybe visualize, it going through your central channel or down your spine into the earth. Use nature to help you as well, balance your energy field and just get it out of your field rather than trying to protect yourself and stop it flowing in. Allow it to flow in and then allow it to flow out because fundamentally you're here to help transmute those different, I guess, more negative or denser energy. That's kind of one of the things that empaths are here to do. So I know that that was a very long way to answer that question. um, but then the next question, I was just thinking of, yeah, so my husband's always asking me to go to the casino. And he's like, but come on, babe, just like, we'll just play blackjack or we'll just, this, that, the other. The problem is though, like, it's so intense. I can't deal with the energy. Like, I'm pretty good at clearing my field. I don't like casinos
Mm.
at all, at all, at all. However, um, I have been known to pick winning horses quite a bit. But even then, I don't like it because, like the whole horse industry, and I don't want to be a part of that and whatever. But yeah, so that has definitely happened. As a child, I knew. So these are kind of the more classic things, and even as a teenager, you would think of somebody and then you would bump into them, or we didn't have phones back in the dark ages as teenagers then. But you would just be walking down the street and then all of a sudden a friend that you hadn't seen for months would turn up, but you had a dream about them the night before. Or um, it was a really interesting thing. I know I mentioned my children having well, being quite gifted as well. And the three of us, particularly, are very, very close and very connected. And so um, we would be able to have full conversations without really saying anything. So, and we became so used to it, particularly when they were like teenagers. We became so normal to us, the three of us, when it was just the three of us living together before I met my second husband, and he would or he would come over, or other people would come over that weren't used to it, and they'd be like, "What is happening here?" Because like my daughter would walk into the room, and I'd go, "Oh yeah, 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 I've already sorted that." And she'd like turn around and walk away, and they'd be like, "What just happened?" Like she didn't say anything. And so we would be having these full conversations, and actually it made people a bit cranky. Like they would be like, "Can you people just like speak out loud, please? It's very disconcerting." So we were, kind of telepathically connected and speaking to each other. And our much loved family dog who lived for 17 years, he was the same. We were like he would tell us, he would walk into the room and just look at us and we'd all be like, "Oh yeah, we know what he wants," and like just get up and get it for him. So um being an empath and having this particular skill set as well can also open you up to telepathy, which is great if it's within, a family setting, that kind of thing. It's not so great when you are tapping into the collective consciousness and having to deal with everybody's fears and upset, and yeah, so that can be challenging. But my son is, whenever my kids are traveling, I know if something's going on, and I know that that's kind of mother's intuition as well. Like that's really documented, isn't it, that mothers and fathers have that connection to their children. um but I feel like ours kind of went a bit above and beyond with that.
I love this. Great interview. We're gonna, with your permission, spin the twister wheel. So we're gonna have a little bit of fun. Just gonna light some sage to start. We'll take a few other steps. We'll see where it goes. I think we're gonna make it very different than some of the other shows. But with your permission, I'm just gonna light some sage. If people watching don't realize what's going on. We have about 500 tapings, 75 solo, 25 mind, body, spirit panels, 320 recorded, 325 recorded of the main show, which Heidi's coming back to tape for, plus about 116 booked of the APL Spotlight series, which you're at today. And I think we're going to have Heidi back, if she'll agree, very soon for this one again, because I think she has lots to share. But if you haven't seen this, I'm going to light some sage. It doesn't matter what year, day, month, or if you're in Germany, Australia, Japan, you can just catch the sage. There's no time and space at one level when it's love is a constant. So here comes the sage. Are you ready, Heidi?
I am. Yes.
Now, you don't have to just settle for sage. Not that sage isn't amazing and very clearing. You can get flowers and ocean or flowers and light around you. Depends how wild you want to go. It's like a game show. Do you want to go for door A, B, or really go for it with door C? Okay, here's the sage. Did you already start getting it when I lit it, Heidi?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna keep blowing it for the people at home, and it's time to comment, like, subscribe, share. An emoji counts if you're shy. We get plenty of comments of people saying, I smelled the sage. Oh my God, awesome. Or other
Yeah,
stuff. Did you get flowers though, or ocean yet,
I
or a little
did.
bit of light? Okay.
Yes.
Which flowers did you get?
Um, Gardenias?
Nice. And the next thing, I'll put up one angel, Joy, who's the emotion Joy. And she's very peppy, high voice. You and I have already kind of played together. Um,
Yes.
here's Joy. Can you get a message from her for all of us on how to just walk a smoother path daily and enjoy more?
Being fully present is the only task that you need to focus on right at the moment. Taking care of yourself, loving yourself as you would love someone close to you is an absolute priority right
Okay,
now.
beautiful. And I'll do one more, Charlotte, an angel who's everybody's favorite school teacher from third form or third grade, not Mrs. Johansson, the one who got you in trouble, the nice one. And she's got words of wisdom meant to help you expand. If anybody's really into ancient Egypt, ask for an incense from those days. And what are you getting from Charlotte for all of us?
Inquiry is about not only asking questions, but keeping yourself open to receiving what comes through.
Brilliant. I'm going to show a little light on my hands. I'll do that movie Celestine Prophecy this way, but as Sue Frederick, who was around in the 70s, said, hey, we were doing this before the movie existed. And in India, they do it this way. The more important thing is you get a dad joke. So I'll tell a dad joke as you're laughing, you're letting go. I think Heidi might have heard this one, but it's good enough. She'll laugh again. Again, I tell the joke. If you're not sure if you can see, it's seeing with all of you or the Zen thing, seeing without seeing. Just get out of here into your heart, and it's how you do a good golf swing or tennis or just pouring a cup of
In the
tea and
zone.
enjoying nature. Exactly. Okay, where do rainbows go when they're bad? Prism, but it's a light sentence. And catch a little bit of light. What are you seeing between my fingers for starters?
Yeah, blue
Okay, I'm going to go
or
bigger
kind
and
of
wider
violet.
and let an angel make an object in there. It could be a robin, a spinning ball of light, a Merkaba. It could be anything. People have gotten everything by now. What are you getting now?
It is actually a bluebird.
Oh my God. And I said bluebird for the first time in my life. Um, cool beans and nice. I might be a little psychic kidding. Uh, with your permission, I've never done this before this way. But if you want, I've certainly put my hand up. I'm going to put my hand up in Texas. You're in Australia, only 11 above, not my bill paying side, not my thinking side, not yours either. If you'll put your hand up and we'll connect, and we'll have a lot of angels come in. I'll put up Mac, don't call her Mackenzie. We've got Archangel Michael somewhere. I didn't really plan this out. Here's Archangel Gabriel. Just feel what you can feel and let me know when you've got a good, sparkly, warm feeling, but you got to use your words.
Yeah, my palm center is definitely heating
Okay.
and tingling,
Okay. And I'll put up my guardian
vibrating.
angel. And why don't we do a different type of reading so that you're off the hook in a way? You're going to do a guardian angel reading. I'm the ward. There's 80,000 of us that have her as a guardian angel, including episode 110, Dr. Karen Wyatt, a retired physician who shares so much. Whoa. Check out August 30th of 2024 if you want to go back to episode 110. Okay, I had to do a little plug.
Yeah.
Here's a very oceany angel named Minn, like Mother Hawaii.
Yep.
And she'll do a co-reading with you. I'm not sure how this works. I have nothing more to add beyond that. And I don't mind you sharing private stuff. So go for it, whatever you'd like to share.
So this is really about balance for you at the moment because I feel that I know at the beginning of the show you said you're tired, but there's a level of exhaustion that is sitting within you that needs to be addressed. And also, you don't have to save the world by yourself. You need to ask for help more because I feel what I'm being shown is that you're like, oh, I can do this. I'm okay. Don't worry about me. I'll just figure it out. I have kind of, energetic or heavenly support, but also you need the physical support in the real world, in the 3D, to be able to keep moving, to reach as many people as you possibly can at this time, because the messages that you're bringing through for everybody really super important right now. And also I'm not sure. You're in Texas, aren't you? So there's not a lot of water. But I was going to say you need to swim in the ocean.
They've got me going to a community pool across the street almost
Right.
every day. Yeah, I get in the water.
Okay.
Yeah, and I even go multiple times. It's kind of kicking in now as the pool just opened across the street. So
Yes.
awesome. I'll try to think of one more item. I'll put up selenite, the crystal. It's like a point, a
Hmm.
wad,
Yep.
a wand or rod.
Yep.
It will speak all selenite consciousness globally. You'll hear either a male voice last year, a woman's voice this year. But if you don't mind getting singing bowls, what are they called?
I
Sound bowls, crystal bowls.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's interesting that you've held that up because I looked at some of your videos and the one that stood out to me was you holding up a selenite. And I was thinking about the selenite in the shower this morning. I'm like, oh, I wonder if he's bringing the selenite to the
it's
show.
brand new. I've only done it about 29 times in the last probably 6, 7 months, I think. So it's relatively new. Go ahead and allow for sound bowl, like sound bowl therapy physically in the
It's very
room.
much angelic feeling
Okay,
to
good.
me. Yeah, it's very much that higher vibrational kind of like the angelic choir, I guess you would say. Yes, sound bowl, but also with voices.
Mm.
And so that's what I get every time I look at that particular piece is yes, that I'm being shown that that is there to absolutely get rid of any lower energies, how else do you want me to say it? Kind of negative thought forms, anything like that, that really improves and increases the energy or the vibration of the environment that it's in. It's a really nice piece. It's a really
Wow.
nice piece.
Thank you. I'm going to put up a photo at the same time of four archangels as rainbow pie slices. Now I cropped it. There's three more off camera. I'm slow at pronouncing names, whether they're angels or actually guests. I can get yours. It's super easy. But this will be Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel. But off camera, it's Zadkiel, Shamiel, and Jophiel. You'll just have the four, but if you want the extra three coming in, just know they're off camera. Here's the rainbow pie slices. If you don't mind getting a message for humanity first and let us know when you're done with that and whatever you could share, and we're putting you to task.
You are. I have to work for my dinner. Okay, let's go. At the time of this global transition, particularly now, all of the darkness and shadow is being brought out into the light. So rather than dissolving in despair, it is the task of every human to stand in their own essence as like source, to continue to anchor that God source or universal source into the planet, into the third density, in order to assist not only humans, but also other beings on the planet, including Mother Earth or Gaia, to transition into the next phase of evolution and reality.
Oh, genius, brilliant, love it. Last item, your direction. You're going to get something private, but if you want to share a portion of it, four archangels are going to talk to you about your background, whether it's a concurrent past life or off-world or something or about your unique life path. It'll be certainly private. Get a couple compliments in there and get a couple hugs. But then if you could share something that you're like, huh, I didn't know that. Raphael said this, and you're not private about it. You're like, I can share that.
Yes, it's very much of been here before doing this.
Yep.
Yeah, lots of times. And the sensation, yes, is that not it's about bringing those higher awarenesses. And once again, I know I might sound like a broken record, but displaying it in the third density of being in human form. So rather than I I'm just being shown that this is, very much part of my, I guess, mission, is to not is to make spirituality and these abilities and skills more accessible to everybody, whether they're aware of it or not. And I've been doing this for many lifetimes. And yeah, many, many lifetimes. And I feel like this lifetime is a very pivotal one for all of us, not just me.
We're going to do a lightning round of three more figures. You can just get an answer, get a hug, and maybe the answer is just private for you.
Hmm.
But maybe you're sharing out loud. Definitely get a hug and let us know how the hug goes. We're going to do Geronimo, Big Mary, and one more angel named Isabel. Geronimo, it's an older Geronimo. Now, while he's like a tiger, he's action, dry wit, humor, and more slang. Yeah, nah, duh, not formal. This is an older Geronimo. He's a kitten. He's everybody's uncle or grandfather. He's a sweetie. You can catch one of 60 Native American scents around you. It could be tobacco, sweetgrass, juniper, Douglas fir. You get the idea. You may already be getting it. Here's Geronimo.
Yeah.
And what are you experiencing, Heidi?
Pine needles or pine, yes, pine needles. Oh, the scent of pine and also sweetgrass, which is I told you at the very beginning of the show, I could smell sweetgrass already before
Yeah.
you even showed me.
And that was just before the show and the 7 minutes we
Yeah,
had. We did that.
yeah.
Okay. And what's he
Um,
saying that you can share out loud?
he actually very much has the energy of my maternal grandfather, whom I loved dearly, and he was very nurturing, caring, and protective, I guess you would say, but in a kind, open-hearted way. This particularly is to help. It feels to me like Geronimo's there to help with business,
Oh,
to
nice.
getting business done. Yeah.
Okay. Now, if anybody's watching from Ireland, you're going to know that you have to have Big Mary this way. But I'm going to show a more modern photo. So just lock this in. Everyone's probably seen this one. And I recently did an AI one I got to just show off. I added the rainbow light. I'm going to take credit for one little part of this. Okay. So there's this version as well, which I kind of like.
So Mother Mary, yes.
Yes. But with everyone's permission, I'm still going to pick one that's an actual, a more modern version that the photo can move, come alive. The eyes will come alive more. You can get a smile and you can get rainbow glitter around you in your room. Pure compassion. You can feel it on your skin. You won't have to vacuum on Wednesday and you're not going to be writing a mean note to the show or to Heidi. It does come out. It's just pure love, consciousness, light, Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it, Mary consciousness. We'll use
Mary
this
consciousness.
one for a modern
Yes.
version.
Yes.
If you don't mind getting lit head to toe, solar flare of love, and let the photo move for you, catch peripherally or directly, rainbow glitter all around, and even some humor.
Serenity is the word that I get when I look at her, and twinkling in the eye as well.
And a message for all of us to stay the course, not worry too much about conflict, complexity,
Right.
details going on around the globe.
Hmm.
Okay. And I said one more. It's an angel named Isabel. She's intercom, but has an extra special skill of like, again, a solar flare of extra love that allows you to transform in any direction. You don't play pickleball, but you always wanted to play. You didn't think you could be a healer or listen to angels, but you can. She helps you find that unlimited side of you. And so just trust she can do a little expansion on some extra fronts. I don't know about sushi. If you don't eat sushi, I don't can't guarantee you're going to start eating sushi. But here's Isabel. I'm borrowing from a 1950s Italian actress. If anyone's seen Hatari with John Wayne, you can figure it out. But this photo will move and you'll really feel it. Isabel, who's intercom, let her light you up. Heidi, are you feeling this one?
Yes, she's beautiful.
And what's her message for all of us daily for chin up and stay the course?
Well, it's m more about having fun, actually, laughing, sharing time with friends, family, dancing, being more connected. I know that we've spoken of joy before, but she's very much you need to experience joy and everything, like good food, good dancing, good friends, good music, just having fun.
I like it. I'm going to read a final quote or two from Angels. Um, and I'd love to get your reaction. And then I'd love for you, you've closed out a lot of shows. I'd love for you to either give us a mantra that you'll repeat 3 times, just so people can feel your energy, or just close it out however you'd like. And I'd like to invite you back in short order to pick up where we left off here. But here's one of my favorite quotes, and then I'll give one from Archangel Uriel as well. This is a collective group of angels, and I'd love to get a reaction to this. Sometimes the person next to you or a stranger just needs validation via love and compassion. A
Yeah.
smile changes any moment, so too does laughter or a few kind words. Be compassion to all, do it. And there's one more quote that Archangel Uriel said around 2012 or so. If more people would listen in any given situation, less conflict would result. Or if more
Oh,
people would
God.
listen, less conflict would result in any given such situation. Archangel Uriel, what's your reaction to both of those?
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Aw.
Because once we're coming from our own pain, our own trauma, our own fear, that's when everything escalates. And so if we have the opportunity at any point in any circumstance to step back, to take a breath, to wait, to pause before we react so that we can create the space to respond rather than to react.
And a final two intuitive steps before we truly have you close it out. I'm going to light this. If you'll say the word topaz later. Here's the lighter. It's a normal Bic lighter. Ask for extra energy, or you're already seeing it above what a normal Bic lighter would do. What are you seeing above the flame right now?
The colors that I'm getting are purple, more violet color. Yeah. And it feels like it's dancing.
Okay. And now my finger is going to be the Bic lighter, but no flame, except there will be light. I'll use the tiger from India as the backdrop. If you don't mind catching a little extra light, let me know when you get it off the tip of my finger. My finger's getting hot right now. Oof. What do you see?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, what
That's more
colors are you getting?
gold. More
Okay,
gold.
good.
Yeah.
And I'm spiraling it a little and I'm sending it your way if you'll allow for just love and above. What are you getting now? And my finger's still really hot.
It reminds me of I know that you said spiral, but the spirals at like the mandalas.
That was
Yeah.
hot. Okay,
Yeah.
last thing. I was supposed to do topaz. I got this at the very beginning for you. If you don't mind just going kumbaya for us, full stop. Allow angels to be your ambassadors. You don't need it, but with them helping out, can you allow topaz consciousness? Never done this one before. Topaz gem, crystal, whatever I'm supposed to call it, have that light consciousness force, beautiful force come through you and get real love, just embraced. And then there's some sort of message out of it all. People can do this at home, and all you have to do is ask angels to get you out of your head into your heart, own it with a thank you, amen, rock and roll, however you roll. Just allow, allow, allow. It's kind of like life. What are you allowing for more daily? Good luck with that. There's thinking and there's your heart. Um, Heidi is all about helping you
Right.
to the heart and giving
Yeah.
you good advice.
Regulation first, and then intuition follows.
All right, last thing, just close us out here, and hopefully we'll have you back on sooner than we realized. What's your closing reminder?
Just to stay present in your heart space, because that is what anchors you into your physical body, into your human experience. That is how spirit accesses you. I know a lot of people talk about your third eye, but actually, if you can access your heart center, that is the gateway to all of your spiritual gifts and all of your intuition.
Yeah, Grand Central for sure. Well, Heidi Jane, great seeing you. Great having you on the show. Can't wait to
Lovely
have you
to be
back.
here. Yeah, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And thank you for watching, everybody out there.
Thank you.
Bye.